Sorry, colleagues, I realized I was not unmuted. So it's now time to launch this event, and I'm looking at Marianne with your agreement. We are now officially launching this event. Excellencies, dear colleagues, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to who has joined us on WebEx or is now watching the video of the event. Today is a special day as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the adoption of the Minamata Convention on Mercury. 10 years ago, on this same day, the international community adopted this Multilateral Environmental Agreement named after the bay in Japan where mercury poisoned thousands of people in the mid of the 20th century. Today, nearly 150 parties have ratified the convention, which plays a crucial role in helping countries to control, reduce, and eliminate mercury across all its life stages. Among the tools to help member states fulfill their obligations, projects play a vital role in the implementing of the convention, offering also valuable capacity building and technical assistance to developing countries. And to help the tracking of progress of projects, and also facilitate understanding their positive impacts and identify successful practices that can be replicated in different contexts, robust knowledge management systems become crucial. And this is the topic we'll be discussing in this new online event, which is part of a series of over 20 events taking place this week in preparation of the 5th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to the Minamata Convention, which will kick off at the end of this month in Geneva. On behalf of the Secretariat of the Minamata Convention, let me highlight that these COP-5 events are an informal platform for parties and observers to share information and bring knowledge to advances in technology, research, and policy to the attention of parties and to the global community that the convention serves. In this new session, we will show knowledge management tools developed by various secretariats serving multilateral environmental agreements that can help in integrating data and ensuring transparency of results, thus bringing clarity to the forefront of projects and other activities. This event is also part of a series of events that, at the initiative of the Chemicals and Waste Conventions and other secretariats serving multilateral events, we are offering in the margins of negotiations for outreach on the important work going on behind the scenes to strengthen knowledge management and how secretariats are working in synergies to avoid duplication of efforts and to profit from successful and fruitful initiatives, thus to serve member states and other stakeholders. I will have the pleasure to moderate this event, and before you are formally welcome and introduced to this session by Marianne Bailey, who is a Senior Coordination Officer at the Minamata Convention Secretariat, let me remind you that the documents presented, the summary, as well as the video of the event will be made available on the webpage of this event, and the link has been shared on the chat. And throughout the event, you can raise your questions by using the Q&A box, and we have a dedicated session to answer these after the presentation if time allows. And finally, let me also add that the transcription is available at the bottom left of your screen, as you can see on the slides that are now shared. And finally, let me bring one more point to your attention. We were not successful in having a gender balance panel for this event. According to the statistics I checked, women hold a quarter of data analytics jobs. So I hope that today's panelists will encourage other women in applying for such positions. So now, Marianne, it's my pleasure to turn off to you to welcome us and introduce us to the topic that we will be discussing. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Deanna, and thank you to you and your team for organizing this great side event. This is day 2 of the Minamata Convention side event week, and we're really pleased, and I want to thank in advance all the presenters who will provide their thoughts, insights, and inspirations today on the topic of knowledge management. I am the Senior Coordination Officer currently at the Minamata Convention Secretariat, and we're busy preparing for our Conference of the Parties, but I was actually really excited about this one to be able to take almost a step back from the really busy COP preparations to think about what knowledge management means to our convention. And I am going to admit that when I came to the Secretariat back in 2020, I didn't think much about knowledge management. It didn't particularly inspire me, but it didn't take long in my job with the Convention Secretariat to understand its importance. It really, knowledge management is part of the web of things that really make our convention function effectively, and it's so essential for our parties and stakeholders. And it's important in particular for two of the other complementary parts of our convention that really make the convention work well and allow our parties to fully implement their control obligations. And those two aspects are our financial mechanism and our reporting procedures, for which we've done knowledge management across the board. You'll hear about it, but those are two things where the knowledge management function is just so essential. And I think we've made some really great progress on that front, because it's really what we really need to do for these functions is to allow our parties and stakeholders to be able to tell their story. For example, if there is a funded project, it's a little difficult to kind of really search deeply in the weeds of something to be able to understand what that project accomplished. So the knowledge management components of the work of our financial mechanism is essential to telling the story of what the problems were, what needs to be done, what was done, and how others can learn from that, how it can inspire action among stakeholders, among communities, and far beyond, so that there's really scaled up implementation of all the actions that can be taken to reduce harm from mercury pollution, reduce mercury emissions and releases, and reduce mercury use, so that we really move towards fully making mercury history and eliminating this threat from people's lives. It's also important in terms of encouraging financing from the very important donors to our financial mechanism, and more broadly in the Global Environment Facility and beyond. We're right now in the context of a really historic replenishment in the GEF 8 period of the GEF, for which the Minamata Convention allocation was a very healthy increase up to 269 million US dollars. So we really want to be able to clearly tell what that work is doing and accomplishing. And then for reporting, there's a direct relationship between reporting and compliance. And our implementation and compliance committee has really benefited from the way we've been able to organize the reporting information. And that will also feed into the effectiveness evaluation of the convention. So for all these interconnected needs, the knowledge management work is super important. We're very pleased to be able to learn from others. And we're really thankful for the partnerships that have been able to be created through this work. And then one final point is just about integration. We need to firmly situate chemicals and waste management, including mercury management, in the broader picture of the work to protect biodiversity and prevent and mitigate and adapt to climate change. And so these are very interrelated probably in ways that many people don't think about. And it's a really important responsibility of our knowledge management work to be able to show those interconnections, so that integrated and scaled up and really widespread approaches take root. So with that, I turn back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marianne, for these great introductory words. We'll now move to the first presentation, the presentation of a very important tool, the United Nations Information Portal on Multilateral Environmental Agreements, known as the InformEA portal. And we have with us Eva Duer, who is leading the InformEA initiative team. Eva is with the Law Division of the United Nations Environment Program. Eva, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Diane, for this introduction, and thank you so much, Marianne, for your introductory words. I will actually take this opportunity to show a contextual tool here. So we are talking of, because as you had mentioned, Marianne, we are talking about linking up the different clusters of MEAs and working on knowledge sharing so that this context becomes a bit more obvious of how all these elements are coming together. I'm now trying to share my screen. And I will hope that you can see the slideshow. Yes, I think it's coming on. The work that you have that you are doing on projects that the Minamata Secretariat is doing on projects is really spearheaded by the Minamata Secretariat, and it's going to be integrated into the whole focus of the InformEA initiative so that we can actually start showcasing project work alongside so many other key knowledge tools and data from the different MEAs. In this context, the InformEA initiative encompasses really a large group of MEAs. For some reason, I cannot continue on my computer. Let me quickly stop sharing the screen to reboot the whole thing. Can you, let me just see whether that works now. Yeah, it should be working now. So now I just have to try again. Can you see my screen at this point in time, Diane, or not yet?
No, we cannot use your. We cannot see your screen at this point in time.
Okay, sorry, it's coming on now.
It's coming up. Yes, it's coming up.
Okay, if for some reason I cannot switch, yes, I hope you can see it now. And now the question is whether I can navigate.
Just click on the PowerPoint and you will have the control again.
Okay, I cannot move the PowerPoint, so I will rely on you at this point in time, Diane, until for some reason it works again. It just worked in a moment. So that means I will try to stop sharing now and let you run this the screen if that is at all possible. I'm sorry for this, but it does not move on my side. So basically, let me maybe then try to see whether I can later show you the website. So just to say that the membership includes 26 secretariats that are scattered around the UN system with 5 UN organizations and IUCN, and it covers all the different covers all the different topics that we have, including, of course, nature, pollution, and climate change, chemicals, and atmosphere. And the way this collaboration comes together is we are focusing on building the capacity at the custodians of the data, which is the secretariats to the Multilateral Environmental Agreements, who then negotiate the data standards against which they are exchanging information. And in the context of the new addition to the content that is being shared, we will have project information on MEA implementing projects that come from different sources, including from the Minamata Convention's financial mechanism, which is the Global Environment Facility. And at this point in time, through this interoperability process, there are about 300 1,000 and more documents coming together that can be filtered against 500 term concepts and that provide some kind of guidance through these wells of information. I don't know whether it is possible to share the presentation so far, Diane. Otherwise, I will make one more attempt to be able to show the live screen.
It's there.
It's there. So that is really confusing. Everything that worked in the moment is not working now. So
I think we are also in different time zones, so
no, I think it should be fine now. I think you now
yes.
see the website, right? I think it's slowly coming on now. I think the live show should be working better.
Yes, we can see website.
So yes, so this is the Infomea website where you find a lot of information, including from the Minamata Convention. I now want to quickly highlight a few elements of the website that will be helpful in the context of any MEA work. First and foremost, I wanted to show you the glossary where you can get information about relevant terms and also see their contexts, contextual topics, and also, of course, their translations. And then the relevant content that cuts across all of the MEAs that are participating in this exercise. So you will find here, of course, relevant documents from the Basel Convention, Stockholm Convention, Montreal Protocol, and many others, and of course also from the Minamata Convention on Mercury. In particular, you can peruse the relevant articles and paragraphs of the Minamata Convention. And in this particular case, we looked for provisions on hazardous waste. But it's also possible from the convention text to see the linkages to the different SDGs. So we are going to visit in a second the information on target 12.4, but you can in principle peruse the entire treaty text against other different goals and targets and find which provisions are important in this context. But now going back to Ayan here, I wanted to show you the, of course, overall convention website from which the text is, so you can peruse reports and plans and other information. But as we are going to the relevant SDG target 12.4, which looks at achieving environmentally sound management of chemicals and waste throughout the life cycle, you can again see how this trickles down into the entire field of different provisions in different treaties, in different convention texts, but also in strategic plans, as is the case, for instance, for the Basel Convention, where again, you can see which particular targets of the Basel Convention are going to contribute to this particular target. So there's a huge effort here to show the coherent contribution of international law, and that includes the environmental conventions, to the internationally agreed goals and targets, because it's only this coherent and collective action that will eventually bring about implementation and progress. I wanted to show you here also that you can, of course, also search for microplastics on the whole website, which is a different way of searching. You can, it's a free keyword search where you can filter by the relevant treaties and what kind of results you get. You can filter by the relevant parties, and you can filter, of course, by information source, by type of information and others, and you can play the whole thing through the different national plans, national reports, legislation, courts, cases, etc., as here, for instance, you can find which national reports are actually relevant in the context of microplastics to different conventions. Now you can also only see, the first set, but there are different conventions that have reports relevant to microplastics. Let me quickly also show you the party profile. You find the party status of each country in the world, which MEAs has the country ratified, which action plans, national reports have been submitted to these conventions, and what does a given country have of legislation, which we are harvesting from the FAO, legal program, including the work by the law division that is also collecting laws. So this is just to give you an idea what you can find on Infomea, information from the different MEAs. Let me highlight also the free of charge e-learning tool, where we have different courses, and in the context of chemicals and waste and the Mercury Convention, we have recently published the Mercury and Gender course that has been developed with the Mercury Convention. And here you can see that you can first see the, get an overview of the course, or then jump right in, get an overview of the course syllabus, but then also jump right into the relevant course. And these courses are partly available in several languages, and at the end of it, you can get a certificate of participation. Since I have a bit of issues with the presentation, let me not risk going back to the PowerPoint and just keep on this particular tool. I think something that's very relevant in the context of the different COPs are negotiations, negotiators who are coming together regularly. And this is a tool that negotiators had asked to, had been asking for some time. And this is really an effort to bring together a lot of material from the different secretariats, especially in the aftermath of the COVID time, where a lot of these negotiations moved online, to allow negotiators to get a quick overview of all the guidance material that's around. The section has different elements, training materials, case studies, all the rules of procedures and the financial rules of the different MEAs, and then a very extensive different glossary that also includes all the negotiator relevant terms. I will now not jump into it in detail, just to say that the way the book is organized, you get an explanation of what a point of order is. You can then consult the case studies, and you can also consult the different videos that exist on a given issue. Like, for instance, in the context of the point of order, there's a video of the latest INC negotiations. I think I would stop here just to say that the plan of sharing project information is very much one of the big priorities for the coming year. There are also a few other elements, like we are trying to develop a compliance section. We are trying to allow to develop deeper e-learning sections for different MEAs, and the MEAs are also collectively trying to make this information packaged and accessible for UN country teams. So this is on our list for the future. And with this, I'm happy to hand back to Diane, and apologies again for the problem with sharing the screen. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Diane,
very
back
much.
over to you.
Thank you very much, Eva, for navigating through the Infomea portal and its tools and services that it provides, including the very useful negotiators handbook that you have just presented. And we at the Geneva Environment Network indeed regularly use the portal. Just a technical note for the next speakers. As you are presenting tools and you want to control your slides, please don't forget to click on the presentation at least twice to control it and not use the keyboard. And we now move to the next speaker. We have with us Claire Morel, who is an information systems officer at the Basel, Rotterdam and Stockholm Convention Secretariat. And so Claire will introduce us to some tools from the Convention Secretariats, namely the Plastic Waste Projects Beneficiaries Map within the BRS Clearinghouse mechanism. Claire, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Diana, for this introduction. So let me share my screen. I hope it will work well. So yeah, I hope you can see my presentation now.
Yes, I confirm we can.
So as Diana said, I will talk about a tool that has been developed here in the BRS Secretariat, which is a plastic waste project beneficiary map. I will start by presenting very quickly what is the clearinghouse mechanism that has been developed by the Secretariat of the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Convention. It's a multi-stakeholder global system that aims at facilitating exchange of information and expertise that are relevant to the three conventions. It is structured by three major components. First of all, of course, information that needs to be exchanged between stakeholders. The tools, there are a bunch of tools that are being developed by the Secretariat to exchange this information, and the communities. It is the network of information providers and information consumers. So within this clearinghouse mechanism, we developed a tool thanks to the generous donation of Norway. We developed a tool which is a plastic waste project beneficiaries maps, which is a map that presents initiative on regional and national scope that concerns marine plastic, litter, and microplastic. So the expected benefits of such a map and such a presentation of our projects are first for donors to have an overview of all existing project initiative, for them to see which countries and region are benefiting of this project, and to choose either to enhance one of the initiative or to donate funds for other countries that are not benefiting these initiatives. It also enhances collaboration between countries, between implementing entities, for them to see if similar initiatives are implemented in different regions and countries, and discuss amongst them and how they can work together. And finally, it encourages also countries to replicate and leverage from activities, and to maybe use initiatives that are done in other countries, in their own countries. So let's go to the map now. I hope you can see on my screen and the tool. So this tool here presents a maps with all countries, and for each country having initiative, they are highlighted, and we can click on them and see the projects or initiatives that are implemented within these countries. So the tool also allows to search by keywords, by donors, and by implementing partners. If we go now on the project here, for instance, this one, we have all the details of the projects, the description, status, duration, budget, the donor, and some details, objectives, and activities. We also can navigate on global projects that obviously we cannot show on the map, but we also have a list of global projects here. So now, what are the next steps? Let me try to. So it was that. So here in the maps that we just saw, we are displaying the projects and initiatives that are entered in the system by the Basel Secretariat. So the next step would be to work with other multilateral environmental agreements, to share with them data and projects on the subject of plastic marine litter and microplastic, but also on other topics that are relevant to the conventions of Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm, and to develop information exchange mechanism to avoid duplication and efforts, and to be able to show on our map projects that are done by partners, and or to also send projects for them to display on their websites. So that's all for me for this presentation. Thank you very much, and I leave the floor to Diana.
Thank you very much, Claire, for navigating us through some of the tools that the EU Secretariat has been developing, some recent developments, and also for mentioning the efforts also that you are making in avoiding duplication of efforts among the various stakeholders that are leading secretariats and working with member states and other stakeholders. We'll now move to the Minamata Convention on Mercury, and we have with us Ana Garcia Sanz, who is the Communication Knowledge Management Officer within the Minamata Convention Secretariat. And Ana is going to present us some of the visual tools that the convention has developed to visualize the financial mechanism of the Minamata Convention. With that, Ana, I give you the floor.
Thank you, Diana. Please, can you tell me if you can hear me well?
We can hear you well.
Perfect, because I've been having issues. Also, like knowledge management officers, we have some kind of technical items. Thank you very much for the introduction, and also I want to thank the opening remarks and the already like two presentations, because I think that we all share the common narrative of transparency, accountability, and no duplications of efforts. With that, let me start sharing my screen. So let me. I hope that now you can see my screen. Is it right?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So I will start. The Minamata Convention Secretariat quite recently triggered the discussion on the interoperability and visualization of GEF projects through InforMEA, as Ivan mentioned, and the MEAs. Then via a pilot case and following the COP mandate to keep the projects visible and prepare the review of our financial mechanism, the Minamata Convention Secretariat has taken the first steps in connecting the public database of GEF projects and the Minamata Convention website while working on a schema with the InforMEA family. This process is vital to support parties implementing their obligations under the convention, ensure accountability and transparency of the project's life cycle, as my colleague Marianne well mentioned. In October 2022, MEAs reunited at the InforMEA Steering Committee agreed on a project schema that, one, contribute to better project interoperability within platforms, secondly, go beyond the GEF projects, and thirdly, that the key aspects that is still, and one key aspect that is still in progress is to expand the project database to incorporate substantive narrative, project reports, or excerpts of these, evaluation reports, results, indicators that contribute to monitor the evolution and impact of other projects, and of course, as Marianne mentioned, to inspire other initiatives. Now I will, here you have some visualization, but I will go live and share you how it looks like. So here we have, if you can still, I hope that you can see my screen. Here you can see the dashboard that we've prepared, and this interoperable with the GEF public database. Some of the indicators that we considered are these scorecards on all projects, the country presence, the GEF project grant, and the co-financing total budget. And there's this map tooltip with the indication of the country, the number of projects, and the GEF period. Below, we have some charts on the projects per region, the projects by type, and all data can be downloaded in image, in PDF, SVG, CVS, or Excel file. And also we have the amount by region and GEF period, the status of projects per region, and the implementing agencies and the projects approved per year. So this gives a sneak peek on where we stand with the Minamata allocation of funding for the GEF projects. But moving on, this is not only the dashboard. What we will manage to do is retooling the old Minamata Convention projects database that was quite dated because it required human intervention. And here we come back to this idea of no duplication of efforts, but also to ensure accuracy in data. Here, the owner of the data belongs to the GEF. So we managed to integrate and interconnect our website through their public website and be able to retool this database that you can filter. You can order by recent first, filter by name, per years, type, status, and countries. And all projects, these 166 projects are listed here and have the data incorporated. But also, if I go to the country profiles, which is part of this cross-cutting integration, the projects are not only accessible from the dashboard and the project listing, but also into each country profile, we can see all the relevant projects listed there. With that, I'm trying to find my presentation. Sorry for that. And one thing that I wanted to share with you without going into very technical details is where magic happens, what happens behind the scenes. So we have developed a system that it loads all the chemicals projects from the GEF public website and sets a review workflow for Minamata Convention content admins that we can check if it's a GEF project, if it's a Minamata Convention project or not. And then we can run the process periodically. If there's new data, then the system will harvest the new data. And already we'll have this discrimination if it's a Minamata Convention project or not. So here we have the other visualization. And I have other good news of the second component of our financial mechanism, which is the specific international program. And we've been recently been able to start the same process of visualizing data regarding to the sea. But before I jump into the dashboard, let me just give a quick headlines regarding this specific international program. That is one, as I mentioned, one of the two components of the financial mechanism of the Minamata Convention of Mercury, together with the Global Environment Facility. And it was defined to deliver direct capacity building and technical assistance to developing country parties and parties with economies in transition in implementing their obligations under the convention. Right now, we have 24 projects grouped in the 3 rounds that you can see on the screen. 5 projects in round 1 in 2018, and in 2019 we got 10 projects, and in 2020, 2021, 9 projects. And here you can have already a visualization on the donors so far that have been supporting the sea. And I will show now you the dashboard, how it looks like, because it's accessible already from the website. This one has been developed in Power BI because all data is already stored in our systems, and this is the UN most standard tool. So here you have the dashboard, and this same happens as with the JEP, that we have the mandate to have this data public. So we managed to release it quite ahead of the COP, and you can see that there are like 4 screens with a lot of indicators here. Because the data is our data, we could cover more visualizations that cross-cut different angles. You can see the number of applicants, the approved projects, the country presence, the project approved by status, the approval status by SIP rounds per region. We could also go deeper and seek and show data on projects per country category. And something which is really insightful is that in each of the 4 screens that has this dashboard, it is feasible to filter data by round of application, by convention article, by SDG topics, and also countries. So here you can see another screen with really meaningful data, with the map, with the project funding and co-financing, the regional geographical coverage, as I mentioned before, the SDG, the articles, and the projects by topics. And finally, we have also a screen with all the donor contribution per round and in total. And let me just share my last slide, which is about similar as Claire's one, about the overall planning and what's next. So one thing that we are currently working on is to connect the SIP projects to the website project database that I showed you before, where we have the JEF project. So in the upcoming weeks, you will see that also the SIP projects are listed in the project database. Secondly, we want to expand this initiative, that's something Eva mentioned, to other MEAs through Informea, and seek for greater data integration and interoperability to provide these meaningful insights, greater transparency, and tell the story that inspire action and that can be scaled up broadly. And finally, we also hope that the digital strategy, where all these project knowledge management is included, that we are presenting at COP-5, will be embraced and play a pivotal role in strengthening existing partnerships, harnessing collective capabilities, and accelerating the positive impact that parties to the convention are contributing to make Mercury history. With that, I will stop here and hand over to you, Diana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. And I also want to thank all the panelists who have spoken so far, because as you saw, dear attendees, they have made efforts in showing directly on their platforms how you can access the important tools and data that are being made available. And I also want to mention, in case you don't look at the chat, that most of the links of the tools that have been presented have also been shared in the chat. And let's now move to another secretariat and other tools made available for parties and stakeholders. So we are now moving to the Global Mercury Partnership, and we have with us Malgorazza Stilo, who will introduce us to how we can use knowledge to achieve mercury-free ASGM, which is small scale mining. Sorry, now I am leaving to the title because I moved. I'm looking at this slide instead of looking at my notes. To achieve mercury-free artisanal small-scale gold mining. I was almost there. I'm sorry for that. So with that, Magda, the floor is yours. And let's show us what you have been developing from your side.
Thank you very much, Diane, and thank you very much to Jen and to Minamata Secretariat for this opportunity and invitation to present our work related to using knowledge to to work. Actually, the presentation will look on one of the sector, which is still the largest source of anthropogenic mercury emissions, artisanal and small-scale gold mining. And I'm going to give an overview of our work that we do at UNEP Chemical and Health Branch in collaboration with UNEP Global Mercury Partnership. And we explicitly work on providing knowledge management and capacity building to the GEF-funded projects, including development of the Minamata National Action Plan to reduce and eliminate mercury use in that sector, ASGM sector, and as well Planet Gold program. But let me start first with the Minamata National Action Plan project for the artisanal small-scale gold mining, in short, NAPT. And what we can see here as an overview is the map of the countries worldwide that have started a GEF project to develop their national action plan for the ASGM sector. It's an obligation for each party that determines that such an activity, such a mining is happening with mercury within its national territories. And we can see that up so far, there have been 48 countries that have started the project and their effort to develop national action plan to control better and to transform the sector into safer and cleaner activities. And out of these 48 countries, 30 countries that are marked in blue on this map have finalized their NAP document and submitted it to the Secretariat of the Minamata Convention. The National Action Plan for Artisanal Small-Scale Gold Mining, it's a national strategy document, and it's a big document. And to develop this very comprehensive document, countries require good understanding, first of all, of the artisanal and small-scale gold mining sector to support the formulation of realistic strategies that are listed under Annex C of the Minamata Convention. And to gather this wealth of information, countries are undertaking desk studies, literature review, but they also go to the field, they visit mining sites, they talk to miners, to other actors from community on the local, regional, and national level, and try to understand better realities that surround the sector, from technical and environmental aspects, including estimated mercury use by the sector, estimated gold production, but as well other aspects such as health, socioeconomic, or policy and regulatory or institutional level. So, as I mentioned, there are so far 30 countries that have submitted their national action plans for the ASGM sector to the Minamata Secretariat. And these documents are very comprehensive, so it means they're also lengthy. However, there is a wealth of information gathered in them, as I was just mentioning on the previous slide. And that's why we realized we would like to feature the key information from the wealth of information and the key information from NAP document. Therefore, we have reviewed them systematically, and we have extracted key qualitative and quantitative data and information from those documents. We have then analyzed this information and data, organized them, and packaged them into more user-friendly display, which are interactive dashboard. They are live on our website. So I'm going to switch, like the other panelists, now to the live view of the website. The dashboards are located under UNEP website, under Global Mercury Partnership section of the website. There is some background about the data mining that we have done, and we have two types of dashboards. So the first dashboards provide gather all information that we have extracted, the entire database. It starts again with the visualization of the status of the NAP project all over the world. You can see here for the map, and we start with the key baseline figures featuring that includes the mercury use estimates in those countries that have submitted NAM. So again, talking about the 30 countries marked in blue. We have present here estimates of ASGM gold production for each country and estimated number of miners and where it was possible in the national documents, also gender disaggregated. So since these are interactive dashboards, everything as previous panelist was also already showing. So let's say we're interested in Mali, we can hover over various elements and have a quick reference on the key baseline figures. What is very interesting here as well, I just wanted for the sake of time show you maybe another 2 elements here. We have also in addition to the numeric information that I have just showed you, in the NAP document there is also a lot of narrative information that might be very important for various actions. And let's say you would like to understand a little bit more from the baseline summaries, from the NAPs, in the various elements. For example, you can filter it by country again, but let's say you're interested in the understanding the impact on biodiversity as reported by the countries that have submitted their NAP. You can click here on this category and you see summaries. Again, these are just 1-2 sentences summaries, what the NAP document have reported regarding to impacts of ASGM on biodiversity. There is of course more information in the document, but this provides a good indication of on the subject if you just want to have a 1-2 summaries on that end. Similarly, we have also a collection and summaries of the NAP strategies. So NAP includes each national action plan has to include several strategies to better manage and transform sector. For example, mercury trade strategies or formalization and regulation of the sector, strategies to eliminate worst practices or emissions and releases of mercury from the sector. So again, we can see filtered by country or by strategy, and this again, if, for example, looking at mercury trade strategy, we can see what and compare what other countries in their NAP document have mentioned and listed as these are again example of key action that the country listed for the certain strategy. And in addition to this dashboard that gathers all the information that we have extracted, we have also looked in the ways to package the information that we have extracted into stories to kind of support a certain narrative. So let's say if you are interested in ASGM community, in the workforce, we have gathered the data from the dashboard that you have seen above, and also make cumulative estimates. For example, if we look on the numbers from all the 30 countries that have submitted their NAP, we can see through their data, we see there's almost 6 million miners that are involved across 30 countries in the sector. We have comparative map which shows you a percentage of women that are involved in this activity in the country, and we listed the role of women as reported in their national action plan by country. We just, for the sake of time, another quick example are also the worst ASGM worst practices. So according to the Minamata Convention, the worst practices that should be eliminated by the parties are the one listed here. Open air burning of amalgam is one of the worst worst practice. And if we look now on the cumulative information from 30 countries, we see that this practice is still reported in the majority, in 26 out of 30 countries, which through this practice, of course, the miners and their communities are directly exposed to mercury. So we can see that this is really relevant. The burning of amalgam in residential areas is also very common. 21 out of 30 countries have reported. Versus maybe if we look at the at the last worst practice, this is hollow amalgamation. This is less commonly occurring, only 15 out of 30 countries, which partially might mean that maybe countries are moving towards less mercury intensive operation in the ASGM sector, including concentrate amalgamation, or perhaps some of the countries actually it has never been practiced. So these are the examples of how we can use the data that we extracted to really then inform better and provide really a more integrated narratives that can then really inform the decision making. Maybe just the last very quick example is that is might be very relevant is also that in each national action plan, the countries also present a mercury reduction targets. So it's a political commitment or an indication of when and how much mercury can be avoided in ASGM if the country implement their strategies that they have designed in their NAP. So based on the 30 countries that have submitted their documents, we see that over time we can have a reduction of mercury by the certain percentages in 2025. If all of the strategies are implemented as designed, over 60% is supposed to be reduced, and by 2030 over 80%.
Thank you, Margorzata.
Yeah.
Are you?
Can I just last slide to come back? Sorry.
20 seconds.
Okay, sorry. So in addition to the National Action Plan, I just mentioned as well Planet Gold. And this is a program that we are also working on at UNEP. And again, just a placeholder that this has also a big knowledge management component with a big resource library and curated collection that might be helpful. And with that, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Margorzata. And we see a lot of passion and dedication behind all the work that was presented today. We have received a question that I will raise, but I also wanted maybe to mention here, and I don't know what if Anna wants to complement, but there will be knowledge sessions during COP-5, which kicks off at the end of this month in Geneva. And there will be also stands where you can meet some of the stakeholders that have presented the tools here at the stands, and maybe can introduce to the member states. I see that we have today various member states and other stakeholders that are involved in using or that would need these tools or beneficial from these tools connected. So don't hesitate during COP-5 to join the stands or the sessions that are planned. Anna, do you want to add something to these sessions on what you have planned during COP-5 and how stakeholders could come and meet you?
Yes,
and
thanks.
then I raise the last question.
Thanks, Diana. I have shared the link that I know that probably before Claudia did as well, the link of our COP-5 web section, and under the tab Knowledge Labs and COP exhibition, you will see all the knowledge labs, which are like quick and easy spaces in the open space for interaction with different stakeholders, are being organized during lunchtime starting on Tuesday, 31st of October until Friday. So there are like, some of them are organized by NGOs. There are a couple of also international organizations and IGOs. Also, we have 2 of them organized by indigenous peoples organizations. So yes, and anyone who is registered to attend the COP can come into the international conference centers and be part of all these interactive panels, and also through the exhibition booth as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Anna. And if they miss one of the sessions, they can meet, as I mentioned, some of the stakeholders at the stands, because many of them will be holding some stands. Just a last question, and let's see if the various colleagues who have joined us today could answer, even though we are really closing this event with that question. So all these knowledge management initiatives are working with large unstructured text data sources, like project documents and party reports. Do you see applications for using natural language processing and large language models like ChatGPT to help summarize and analyze this? So here we are talking about some future developments, and maybe by trying to answer this question, I can have last 20-30 seconds from each of our panelists as we close this this session. And maybe I will start with you, Eva.
Thank you so much. Yes, this is a very, very good question, and it's something that we are trying to explore. I think in the context of the digital transformation of UNEP and in the strong collaboration we have with the Minamata Secretariat and also with colleagues including from the chemicals branch, there is an opportunity to explore this further. It's very difficult to agree to get with natural language processing accurate and appropriate summaries, but I think with the relevant disclaimers, it's indeed a way of giving very concise information to contextual processes like UN country teams that might otherwise not have the possibility to go so much into depth. So there is potential here. I think we are in the very early stages to try and make sure that such applications are actually fed with relevant government-vetted content. And I think to then really start scaling such a process is still a bit down the line, but ideally starting piloting it and starting to see how this works is definitely on our cards.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Eva. Now moving to Claire for the Basel, Rotterdam and Stockholm Convention Secretariat.
Yes, thank you. I agree with Eva. It's a very interesting way forward for analyzing data, but we have to ensure first that the data entered is accurate and can be easily analyzed by ChatGPT, and we also have to ensure that we are all on the same line on which structure we want to give to the data, because I think the aim is that in the future we can all MEAs and all entities can share data. So if we want to be able to share data efficiently, we have to have common definition and common structure of data. So this can go along with a common definition on data structure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claire. We move on to Anna.
Thank you very much. And of course, I agree with what all have been said. And I just want also like to echo what Eva mentioned, because we are exploring some concerted collaboration with Informea, the Minamata Secretariat, and also the Global Mercury Partnership on digital transformation initiative, of course, with the caveat that we need to be cautious about the results, about the accuracy of data that was also highlighted by Claire. But of course, we cannot be blind about the present, not only the future, the present of the how technology is being so accelerated and the potential use of large language models. So we, with all the caution that we need to have, we will explore first with internal data and seek which are the potential that we can have to trigger more environmental action. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Anna. And finally, Margotza, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And I, of course, agree also with the previous panelist, and it actually sounds very exciting to try to apply such a tools using natural languages processing. And perhaps there would be opportunity to compare it our efforts that I have just presented about the national action plans, we have been using just our reading and summarizing skill to get those key messages from the big documents. If we could have a comparison also using other digital tools, that would be very beneficial. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we would like to thank once more not only our panelists, but all the attendees who joined us today and those who are now watching the video of this event, the recording of the event. It was a real pleasure to see how motivated the colleagues who have joined us today to present the work that they are doing and to see the latest developments. And we look forward to continue these discussions during COP-5 at the end of this month. Or at other negotiations that will take place later. And with that, it's time to close this session. And we encourage you also to join the other sessions of the online events that are organized within the framework of the fifth conference of the parties to the Minamata Convention. You see here a dense schedule of events that are taking place this week. You have a few more taking place today. 2 more for today, and tomorrow you can join the Geneva Network and partners for a session that will look at advancing rights-based approach to address mercury contamination. So we look forward to see you numerous at that session and at the few others that will come up until the end of this week. So thank you very much, and see you soon.